for music in Pembrokeshire. The Queen's Hall in Narberth, just a couple of days ago, hosted Random Perception, who we know very well on the show here, with Super Gene, which we're going to hear some music from tonight. They've also then just announced that they have their first live music event in Narberth, in the Queen's Hall, with the incredible Regime. So we're going to be hearing some music now, straight off. Kicking off the show, we've got Super Gene with Get Out and then Forgiveness by Regime. I'm really looking forward to this. Mark, we'll have a catch-up in a minute.
Take it away.
I need
license I need to be able to see myself on camera.
Yes.
And now on street.
Yeah, it is, yeah. What's your best way to get it to him? Facebook. What's your name on Facebook?
I'm great.
Is this you?
That's me.
Get out, get out, get out, get out and get out. Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. Get out, 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 get out.
Are you happy with your camera as well? Or do you want to
I'm quite happy with mine.
You're happy with it?
Too. It's Mike who is. I need a big.
I can go through that one now. Turn off the camera because you're on the other camera anyway, so it's fine.
Tom Corbia.
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, you don't know the camera. No. So if you mute the microphone and the camera, you just enter it. Rob, I sent you the link to censor the mic.
Yeah, I got it.
There you are, you're fine. We're moving. Oh no! Alright, now you're here for this 2-hour show.
No,
Okay. You're not in that?
I'm not in it.
Yeah, I get you. You got headphones over there? Or was I now? Sorry.
How are you, Tom? You okay?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, there's boys sticking to the wire with the voice show. Yeah.
No, I practiced that in got 6-7 minutes with.
Oh, cool. And you've got the usual thing, stick to the J job, cover up. Right, you've got comments on the studio as well. Yeah. You got this one, yeah?
For
Follow Pure West Radio on Instagram.
Don't worry, I got this.
Pure West Radio.
There's no outro.
I say to you, I love you. I'd rather die than hate you.
Well, you know that me and my boys got it on the raps. They know about the
Love regime.
Love this regime.
Yeah.
so say, oh, just like a thunder
Alright, you can see me in your camera. That's fine. Who's in the spotlight today?
I'll be honest,
There's no one?
there is.
Okay.
Oh my god, people are calling me and annoying me. Oh my god, please leave me alone.
So I ask for forgiveness, just trying to do the best I can do as a witness. So I ask for forgiveness, just trying to be the best I can be with you as a witness.
This language comes out with another word for love.
Right,
Agape is more than eros. Agape is more than philia. Agape is something of the understanding, creative, reflective, goodwill, wrong.
Well, they say that any man who wanna forget the past sets fire to the bridge that he shares the past. And like pearls on the swine, the die is cast. And the last will be first, and the first and last.
Now,
No matter what it takes,
This is great.
heaven only knows how great this will make you. If you show love for the ones that hate you, so tell me, what kind of life is this? Spinning and genius about my business. Hate on their neighbors and with false witness. Too weak to show their forgiveness. They seek vengeance, but it's not for them to take no repentance. For all of the mess they make, there's no acceptance. When they
the only way I can sort out my cam now if I'm in the right place without it being active.
we've got 1 minute, 7 seconds. Right, Mike should be clicking it as Tom, I'm 1,
2.
2, and then Mike is 3.
He'll be Tell Fader.
So I've got to lift that up when you talk it, right? Mike can fuck off. He's having technical issues. I'm just saying so.
Okay.
Are you ready, Mark? We're just going to go for it, right? Right, apparently people can hear it.
Well, if a child knows speaks for Mr. Beauchamp from God, would you forgive them?
Regime with forgiveness there on Pure West Radio. Welcome back. You're listening to Making Noise. Mark, you're joining me in the studio tonight. It's our first show in the studio.
In the studio.
What are we now? Episode 3?
Episode 3.
Episode 3. We're in the studio in Haverfordwest. Welcome. Thank you for joining me tonight.
No problem.
How are you?
Not too bad, my friend. Not too bad. We should be joined by Mike, but I think we're having a little bit of technical issues, aren't we?
We'll sort it. We'll sort it. Don't
We'll
worry.
get him
So we are. This is episode 3, and we are right in the middle of Mental Health Awareness Week, and we're going to be discussing. We'll go into it a little bit further very soon, but we're going to be discussing the correlation between music and mental health, because there is a suggestion that music can maybe bring on mental health condition. There's also a correlation to suggest that music can help with a mental health condition. So we're going to be discussing all of that. We've got music coming up for you from Keisha, Levain, Marseille, Jamie, Sophia, The New Nostalgia, and Climbing Trees. We're going to listen to some music now, and we'll be back then for some more conversation. Get in touch with us this evening, facebook.com/Pure West Radio. Drop us an email, studio@purewestradio.com.
spin around and I pick you up. I smell your sweet perfume. What's in your paper cup? I'll take it. I'll take you home. Once you're bound to
Is that time for the application? Something else running on that computer.
You said I can take it.
Oh, he's gone.
I'll take you home. Once you're by the summer.
Or some kind
Keisha Levine there with Summer Lovers. What a fantastic track. Welcome back. You listen to Pure West Radio. My name's Rob and I'm here for Making Noise. We're going to hear some more music now. This is Bridges with New Nostalgia. Right.
Stops me chipping at my soul till it cracks and cracks. coffee black. I leave my conscience at the door. I need everything I got. I need everything I got. But I fell and hit the floor. Can't hear you calling anymore. No more. Shame is growing day by day. Makes me all but fade away. I'm shutting down my closest friends. What was my name again? I leave my conscience at the door. I need everything I got. I need everything I got. But I fell and hit the floor. Can't hear you calling anymore. No more. No more. I leave my conscience at the door. I need everything I got. I need everything I got. As I fell through empty space, I burn a bridge I can't replace. I leave my conscience at the door. I need everything I got. I need everything I got. As I fell through empty space, I burn a bridge I can't replace. In the troubling times, there's no space for the man in the middle. From the withering highs, it's hard to see the ones below. When they draw in the lines, how do you choose which side to stand on? Find the truth in the lies. You won't walk this road alone. Well, it's not all as it seems. I don't know what it means, but we're still free in our dreams. In the shimmering light, you can solve the deepest riddles. In the heart of the night, you will feel its warmest glow. When the end is in sight, moving through the darkest tunnels. Now you put up a fight, you will see how far you go. Well, it's not all as it seems. I don't know what it means, but we're still free in our dreams. In the troubling times, in the troubling times,
Troubling times here on Pure West Radio by Climbing Trees. You're listening to Making Noise on Pure West Radio. Welcome back. We seem to have been having some technical issues, but I kind of feel like we're past that now. Fingers crossed. Mark, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, everything
Heart
okay?
attack over. We're in.
I feel like I've had an heart attack. Do you like that?
Oh, that took me longer than it should have taken.
We've had a good few songs there. That last one, Troubling Times by Climbing Trees. We've got lots of great music coming your way for the next hour and a half now on Making Noise on Pure West Radio. But I feel like it's about time we've messed you around enough. Let's get straight into a feature now. And one of the... For me, Mark, I don't know about you, one of my favourite features on Making Noise is Stick to the Day Job.
Oh,
now, it is yours. It's your baby.
My baby.
The first one we had was...
Question mark. Don't forget the question mark.
Of course. Stick to the day job, question mark. It is a question. It's not a statement. We are asking you whether this person, this entity, should stick to the day job. Now, last month's... I'm gonna throw it out there.
We got trashy.
I wasn't over the moon. I wasn't excited by it as I was with episode 1. So talk to me a little bit about what we've had so far.
So episode 1, I mean, it's hard to beat. We kind of went a little bit above us there. We went for Christopher Lee, and I mean, where do you go from there? You know,
how do you beat that?
How do you beat that? Because
you
then
can't.
We thought, well, we're not going to beat that, so let's go as bad as we possibly can go and bring in Jake Paul instead. You know,
we went like
fantastic
hero
idea.
to zero.
Yeah, and that was fun. I mean, it was all right. I mean, anyone under the age of sort of 35 and over the age of 10 is going to know about Jake Paul. So yeah, that was a good discussion. And today, you know, now I was going to do this one last month.
It was meant to be episode 2, isn't it?
Yeah, it was, but it was because Jake Paul and Ben Askren, they had
Yeah,
the fight.
there was the,
it's current. Let's get him on, I guess. This time we're talking about a national treasure. He's a national treasure. What can you say? It's Neil Buchanan, everybody. It's
Now,
Heart Attack guy.
I was going to say, before you said that, right, if you said to me Neil Buchanan, I've got no idea who you're talking about.
No.
Right?
No.
As soon as you use the words, 2 words that make the big difference here.
Yeah, of course.
Heart Attack.
Heart Attack.
Now, how old are you, Mark? You are 28, 29...
13.
Okay, sorry. I apologise. Now, anybody from you down, I'm 28, is going to know the words Heart Attack. We're going to know exactly what you're talking
How long do you think it
about.
went on for?
Say that again.
How long do you think Heart Attack went on for?
It was a massive part of my childhood.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say at least 10 years.
Maybe like 30 years, maybe.
What?
Yeah.
No.
27 odd years.
Oh my.
I'm pretty sure it was about 30 odd years. That's how 500 episodes he did in total.
Wow.
And it get on for like 30 odd years.
Now, if you say to me,
2007 when it stopped.
That's incredible. If you said to me, Neil Buchanan, right?
Fact check me on that one.
no, we will. I'm sure there's
Research
somebody.
has been
I'm
done.
sure there's somebody who's listening who's going to call you out on that.
Yeah.
But for anybody who's listening who remembers Heart Attack, it was, as it says, it's a program.
Was it CBBC?
CBeebies, wasn't it?
CBBC, something like
Yeah, it was
that.
1990 to 2007. Just that is insane. I mean, like, I always remember him being part of my childhood. But,
like as big a part as like Tracy Beaker and you know
one of those universal constants.
absolutely.
Yeah, 2007. So I mean, like, we would have been 16, 14 years old. God, that is crazy. You're still going. Amazing.
So, talk to me a little bit about, if you can, Mark, because I know we
haven't got a lot of prep on tonight's show.
haven't.
We're going like
We're going
as
head first.
freelance as we can.
This is-
talk to me a little bit about the show Heart Attack.
What is there to say, mate? It was one of those things. You come home and you grab like whatever you can out of the bin, and you just got this guru of a guy that
Neil.
teaches you to like combine all of that and make a beautiful or semi-beautiful or sometimes completely ugly work of trash that you immediately then get thrown in the bin by your mum. But you know, she doesn't say anything. But yeah, no, it was one of those shows. It was fantastic. It was creative. I wish I could see more of them again. You know what? I actually want to go back. I want to go and watch them again. I want to make some paper mache.
Yes.
Anything actually, just
Now
paper mache. Does anyone actually ever do that anymore? If I went up to I don't think any Zoomers would know what paper mache even is these days. Would they? I mean, like, is that even a thing that still happens?
It's a challenge I feel that we should put out.
But it was an amazing show. He tell you something. It was kind of funny. He got into it because he saw an ad in a photo in a newspaper, and he said it said something along the lines of, "Have you ever had breakfast with a gorilla?" And then that was like part of the ad, and he said, "Well, no, but I did, sort of as a joke, but I did have my photo taken with a chimp as a child sat on my lap." And they thought that was hilarious.
That's a qualification.
And got him in. And then from there, then he managed to sort of get himself his own show, which became Art Attack. And yeah, it was crazy. He sort of started off pretty sort of low, and then worked himself up and got his own show.
Now the band is called Marseille, right?
This is So this is the thing. He started that way before Art Attack.
That was
like when he was a 15-year-old guy.
That was going to be my next point.
Yeah.
So Marseille came before Art
So
Attack.
technically, it always was. Well, it wasn't.
Yeah. We're not talking about a celebrity who is then ventured into the
No, there's a bit of a different one this week.
Yeah.
Because Marseille started up when he was about 15. And they were part of the sort of British invasion of heavy metal. Like they were going for it. Interestingly enough, they weren't always called Marseille.
I was going to ask you this. I didn't want to interrupt because rarely, which I never do for this show, but rarely I've done some research, right?
Yeah.
So normally I just turn up and talk crap. You and Mike will
I'm just good at bragging it, mate.
We'll come on to it in a minute, but I just turn up and talk rubbish. It's you guys that are the kind of gurus behind the mic, right?
Sure, yeah.
But I got so excited about the Art Attack dude. That's all it was in my head. I didn't even know his name was Neil, right? Dude. That was the exciting thing in my head, that we were talking about the guy from Art Attack. Do you remember the big Art Attacks? Do you remember, like, you get like some kind of drone or something, look at it from above, and it'd make this massive thing out of like rucksacks and like jogger bottoms and whatever else, and we'd have to try and guess what it was.
Yeah.
Art Attack was a massive part of my life. It was. I'm a very creative person, and from somebody that was from kind of like not a massively creative like household, like that was a massive thing for me to be able to tune in to Art Attack every week. What amazes me is that this guy kind of came from the rock and metal scene in Marseille, then signed to the I'm going to call it a project of Art Attack. That then stopped, and then he came back to the band Marseille.
Yeah, so he left it then in 2007. I think it was 2009. They started the band back up, Marseille. Of course, hey, you didn't know. Well, what were they called before? You should know this. You were excited.
I know the answer to it. Like I said, I never do research and to stick to the day job.
What were they called? What were they originally called?
Stick to the day job is your project, right? It's your baby, and what you come to me with each week, every week so far has been like fascinating. As soon as I heard it was this guy, I kind of did a little bit of my own digging. Now I found out, and correct me if I'm wrong, but once upon a time, were they not called AC/DC?
They were AC/DC.
What happened
there?
They
were AC/DC.
Talk to me.
Yeah, so they were AC/DC, and then unfortunately, a little-known other band from Australia.
Never heard of them. Never heard of them.
Yeah, posers. And they came out of nowhere, and they had to sort of change the name.
So
they were on the scene, but isn't that insane? So Neil Buchanan was technically in AC/DC. There's something to be done there. I think at the very least there should be some kind of gig.
Yeah.
Like AC/DC, Neil Buchanan on his paper mache guitar. Yeah. Everyone's rocking out. It's going to be great.
With Morph. Do you remember Morph?
No. Good.
Morph, the little plasticine guy.
That thing gave me nightmares.
He was terrifying.
That was like a Tool thing. That was a Tool
mascot.
video.
He was like a mascot.
Creeping the hell out, man.
I'm going to be honest with everybody that's listening. This is one of my favourite stick to the day jobs that we could conceive. Okay, so first of all, Christopher Lee, absolute legend. There's no comparison to
We on? We good?
Don't think I've been this low before in my life. Apartment's dark, anxiety's high. I can't get up today. I've been wasting time on lies. I should have listened to my gut. I'm left hanging here by my neck now. My running mind caressed. I am holding on, but I can feel myself slipping through the cracks. I'm still holding on, but I can feel myself wanting to let go. I wanted to let go. Like I've been drowning in my sleep. I've been haunted by my dreams. I'm ripped apart at the seams. Feels like I've been this way for weeks. Can you tell me why I'm this? So filled with emptiness. My eyes are wide, I can fake a smile, but inside I'll be dead. Will this get any better? Will this get any better? I am holding on, but I can feel myself slipping through the cracks. I'm still holding on, but I can feel myself wanting to let go. I wanted to let go. I can't silence the voices screaming in my head. Every day goes by, got me feeling like I'm dead. I don't know who I've become. I don't think I've been Will things start to get better? Because I'm feeling alone together. Feels like forever. I've been locked away from the world. My decaying mental health has the truth unfurled. I'm like, how can you trust anything anyone says? I'm so sick of being lied to. How can you trust anyone they say? I'm so sick of being lied to. Just tell the truth. I am holding on, but I can feel myself slipping through the cracks. I'm still holding on, but I can feel myself wanting to let go. I'm still holding on, but I can feel myself wanting to let go. I wanted to let go. I wanted to let go. I wanted to let go.
Jamie Stoffer there with C137. Welcome back. This is Pure West Radio. Mark, how are you? We're a little bit stressed in this studio tonight.
Speak for yourself, man.
What's news?
So
we were talking about Marseille with Kiss Like Rock and Roll. That was the track that we were going to play. Talk to me a little bit about how they came to be, because we all know them from like Neil Buchanan, Art Attack. We were just talking about them.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he was ever in the band, but actually the band was before the guy, right?
No, he was in Marseille.
Yeah.
He was in Marseille. They went touring, came back. It sort of went
a bit downhill. Couldn't really recuperate. He quit. Found himself back in the old dole, and eventually found himself a job. Long story short, found a job on Art Attack. And sort of blagged himself in by the fact he had a picture of him with a chimp on his knee.
I want to know what happens, right? You're in like a rock band, and you say to the CITV producers, whatever the program is, you think, do you know what? I can draw. Like, do you know what I mean?
No,
like,
insanely well. Have you seen any of his other art? It's awesome. Like, it is so insane. Like, the guy is, I would say, a very actually really underrated artist. Some of the stuff I've seen, give it a check out. It's really, really good. But yeah, you know, originally he was in a band. He came out, did Art Attack for like 27 years, came out with the Art Attack, and decided to go back into the band a couple of years later, 2009, and then they stopped, unfortunately, in 2019. But they had 10 years then of kind of getting back together. I think they re-released an album, or they released another album, like Unfinished Business, that's what it's called. And yeah, it's
very
you just got a lot of respect for the guy.
Love it, absolutely love it. Got to give a couple of shout outs.
He's also a big photographer as well. So
he is. I did, as I said, I never normally do research into the Stick to the Day Job because I like this to be you educating me. But I did do a little bit of research. Had a look on a couple of cheeky websites. Shout out to Emma Evans that's listening, Nigel Parker, and Gemma Newell as well. Hello everybody that's listening. This is Making Noise on Pure West Radio. We're going to be with you until 11 tonight. We've got lots of great music coming for you and some good discussion as well. We're going to be talking very soon about the links between music and mental health. But before we do, I think it's about time that we actually played some of the music from Marseille. What do you reckon?
That sounds good to me.
If you've only just tuned in, we're going to be talking about Neil Buchanan, who is the presenter of Stick to the Day Job, who was also the lead guitarist in the band Marseille. So we're going to hear the track now, and we're going to be asking you, should he have stuck to the day job? Now, if the day job, Mark, this is the question I guess we're going to have a little bit later. If the day job is on Art Attack, then I kind of have to say yes, stick to the day job, because I absolutely love it.
Right.
But if we're talking about are they any good as a musician, which is kind of traditionally what the question has been, it's a slightly different question, don't you think?
I think so. I think they're amazing, but I've got a caveat.
Okay, let's talk about that then after the track. This is Kiss Like Rock and Roll by Marseille. Neil Buchanan from Art Attack is the lead guitarist. Here we go.
Kiss me like I've never been kissed before. Kiss me. Hold me like I've never been held before. Hold me. You got a kiss like rock and roll. It sends shivers running through my soul.
Marseille there with Kiss Like Rock and Roll. That's Neil Buchanan from Art Attack, who's also the lead guitarist of the band Marseille. Hence the feature, Stick to the Day Job. Mark, is there anything you want to add to that?
I think he should have stuck with the day job.
Oh, wow.
But, right.
Okay.
Hear me out.
Wow.
But
You just ruined my childhood.
incorporate
Just going to throw it out there.
incorporate Marseille into it. Incorporate the metal into the Art Attack. You know what I mean? Like today, we're going to be making a paper mache Muck Jagger. Here's one that I made. Oh, sorry, that's the actual Muck Jagger.
We're going to headbang while we do it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they should have just incorporated both into it. Neil Buchanan in his vest top, you know, in his vest and nothing else, and just played a little solo every now and then.
Now, personally, absolutely.
No, it was amazing, mate. It was amazing. Marseille, awesome. I wish they were still going now.
Yeah.
Go and see them.
No, I've got to say, Art Attack was a massive part of my life.
All of our lives.
One of my favourite. I can't imagine doing a better Stick to the Day Job than. Well, first of all, I thought I couldn't imagine doing a better one than Christopher Lee. We did Jake Paul, which I'm going to admit, Mark. I felt let down on that.
Really?
Neil Buchanan now was a massive one. I know that hopefully, if everything has gone well, which it hasn't gone so far, that we should be joined by Mr. DJ Chiv. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Are you in the group?
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm in, mate. I don't know if you can hear me, but I have had some major difficulties getting in.
He's in the room.
I don't know if it's you. I don't know if it's us.
Mate.
It's not
I'm
me.
in.
It's you.
What can I say?
It's great. It's great to have you here. Now, one of the things I kind of feel like, because of some of the technical issues, I'm not going to go into that, but because of some of the technical issues, we've kind of completely skipped over the fact that Mark and we are in the studio. Let's talk about that for a minute, Mark.
I know, we're missing you, Mike. We wanted to all be here, Three Musketeers.
I know.
Are you in your dressing gown?
Well, I totally feel like I've got COVID or something because I'm self-isolating while you two are doing the show.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
We don't talk about the C word. What have you got on underneath the dressing gown?
He's not replying.
What dressing gown? I'm fully clothed, mate. Fully clothed.
What dressing gown? That's enough. That's enough.
They're moving swiftly
It's
on.
been a nightmare trying to get in, and I don't know what happened, but
What, to the dressing gown?
We're here now. It's great. It's great to have the three of us back. I'm very much hoping that on episode 4 we're all in the studio.
I'm fully dressed.
You know, as as we're all aware, the kind of restrictions that the Welsh government are implementing are kind of reducing every month, and hopefully now episode 4 we'll be able to have the 4 of us in the studio. As it stands, it's just me and Mark in the studio and Mike in his underwear from home. We've just had Neil Buchanan there with Kiss Like Rock and Roll in the band Marseille. We're going to hear some more music now. I'm really looking forward to this. This is Bernice Lasara with her with her track Marseille. There's a slight delay with Mike. I don't know if you noticed, Mark, but it's actually incredible. I think it's brilliant. We're going to hear the music now. This is Marseille. No, we've had Marseille.
I noticed that too.
I love it.
I think you two are lagging me out. That's what it is.
It's like having your grandpa on call.
I can't. This is great. This is like my favourite show ever, despite being the most dysfunctional. We're going to hear some more music now from Bernice Lasara with her newest single, Down. Don't forget, if you want to get in touch with us tonight, we are streaming live on Facebook, facebook.com/Pure West Radio. Do get in touch with us for all of your shout outs and requests. We'll say hi. Very soon we're going to be talking about mental health. It's Mental Health Awareness Week, or it was, and we're going to be asking the question, can music make you ill? More coming on that right after this.
Download the Pure West Radio mobile app from the App Store or Google Play. This is Pure West Radio, live from our studios in Haverfordwest.
Wish I'd spend more time living for me. watch me drown, didn't make a sound. Now there's nowhere to go but down. Wish I'd spend less time walking alone. 'Cause somehow, no matter what, I end up on my own again. But it's not a two-way street, and I can't expect it to be. I'll be here, I'll be right here, spiraling, falling down, spin around and around and around. You watch me drown, didn't make a sound. Now there's nowhere to go but down, down, whoa, down. There's nowhere to go but down, down, whoa, down. There's nowhere to go down. Wish I'd spend less time walking alone. 'Cause somehow, no matter what, I end up on my own, spiraling, falling down, spin around and around and around. You watch me drown, didn't make a sound. Now there's nowhere to go but down, 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 whoa, down. There's nowhere to go but down.
Bernice Lasara there with Down.
Whoa, down.
You're listening to Pure West Radio.
Go but down.
This is Making Noise with me, Rob Parker, and Mark Price in the studio with me. We've said goodbye to Mike tonight. We've decided enough is enough due to some technical issues. Now, we've talked about Neil Buchanan with Stick to the Day Job. He's the Art Attack guy. If anybody wanted some clarification on who and what we're talking about. The other point to tonight, the kind of mass debate we're going to be talking about, is asking the question, can music make you ill? That was the question that I was faced recently with Mental Health Awareness Week. We thought we'd speak about that exact topic. According to mental health studies that have been done, Help Musicians UK, in the largest known academic study of its kind, in a survey of over 2,200 people in the music industry, revealed that musicians are 3 times more likely to experience mental health conditions compared to the general public. Now, we're going to be asking why. Why is that? Is that a correlation, Mark, to put the question bluntly, as can music make you ill? Being a musician, does that mean you're more susceptible to suffering from a mental health condition?
I think there's a couple of ways you can go from this. So I mean, from what I can see, that it tends to be really common for people who are just generally really creative to have issues with mental health. So I think if you are someone that is very creative and putting out something like it can be music, it could be poetry, it could be writing, art itself, maybe you're an artist, I think maybe there is more of a common link then to those people that to have mental health. I think a lot of some of the greatest pieces of art that have ever been made, some of the greatest music that's ever been made has come from a place of
darkness,
torture.
Let's do it.
And that goes across every type of art there is out there, every type of creative venture out there. I think a lot of people that make some of the greatest pieces and produce some of the greatest music are tortured in some way by something. And on the other side of that, I think, music itself can also make you, I think there's a double-edged sword. So I think it can kind of have an effect on you and make things more negative for someone who, for example, listens or even creates music by kind of continuing that cycle on, and they're investing into it. But I also think that the other side of that, you're kind of putting your that hurt, that pain, or that torture into that piece, or as you're listening to it, or as you're creating it, you're kind of transferring it, almost like you're separating yourself from it, and maybe you're helping to process it in many ways. I've seen a lot of things that have said that, you know, when you listen to music, when you're creating music, especially like sad pieces, yes, you can make yourself even worse, but you can also help sort of process what's happened and move on from it. I was massively into Korn when I was younger. Still am now. Still love Korn. Devil horns up for Korn. Love Korn. But, you know, hey, yeah, that's it. That's right. But, you know, Jonathan Davis often said that, you know, he wrote these things about his childhood, some of the terrible things, and we won't go into it, but some of the terrible things that happened to him in childhood. And he hates revisiting those songs. He hates going up on stage and playing some of them, but he knows that I think he has to, because he has to revisit some of those dark places. And it's always kind of like that struggle of going back to it and reliving it and kind of processing it. I mean, I guess when you write that and it's, you know, it really means something, it comes from a place of real, you know, darkness, then yeah, you have to go back to it. And maybe that's like a journey that you have to do throughout your whole life, maybe your whole career. I mean, it must be really hard. I mean, if you've written something when you're younger that really tortured you, and even if you get older and you've kind of got over it, but then to go up on stage and then relive it every time you sing it, it's got to be difficult.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's an absolute double-edged sword. Help Musicians UK, they did say that it's clear that for all its rewards, the lifestyle of professional music can carry with it a number of challenges to health and well-being. And many of the side effects that they talk about, money issues due to poor pay, expensive equipment, unpaid travel expenses, as well as juggling several jobs to pay for the main career of music. Poor working conditions, sexual abuse, bullying and discrimination. The study explained it's a very difficult subject. It's not a yes or no answer as kind of maybe some of the questions that we would discuss.
Also, don't forget social media. I mean, if you're putting yourself out there on social media, for one thing, I mean, that's kind of a newer thing, more contemporary thing that's happened with people and their mental health. But, you know, putting yourself out there, you're kind of exposing yourself to the world a little bit. And, you know, some of those social media posts is something that we've had to really come to terms with. A lot of people have to come to terms with real quickly. Yeah. Which is, you know, social media is a massive thing that can screw with your mental health, especially if you're putting out a song there and you get negative coverage from it and you get negative comments and coming through. It's got to be difficult. I mean, it comes with the territory, but what it's got to do to someone, you know, especially if you know, everything that I've seen, they say I never read the comments, or if they do, they're going to have a real bad time afterwards.
Difficult for you to answer, maybe because you weren't a musician in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. But do you think it's more difficult in the modern era to be a musician, with the stigma, with the internet, with social media, with the scrutinization that comes with a lot of those things? Do you think that's more difficult to be a musician?
I think if you were a musician back in the 70s or 80s, maybe it was easier to get away with stuff, you know. But then again, that's not even the case, as we've seen lately with things coming up, you know, from decades even ago against musicians. I think it probably is in some ways very difficult now. I mean, aside from the fact that the market in itself is very, very oversaturated, everyone wants to be a musician or an influencer or whatever. And so it's as much as you get more opportunity to get out there, you're also a really little fish in a really big pond. Coupled with that, then yeah, you've got to put yourself out there. You've got to put yourself out there potentially on YouTube. It could go viral. You could go viral for the right reasons. You could go viral for the wrong reasons.
We've discussed that, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I would probably contend it's probably harder now on people's health, mentally and physically, in many ways, to be a musician these days. I mean,
and
so would
you put down that? I mean, I'm taking what you've said there. Maybe sure. I'm adding 2 and 2 and coming up with 5. But would you say that a big part of that is down to modern society, the internet, social media?
Society. Hey,
great word.
Great word. Yeah, sure. I mean, these days, obviously, everything's become really, really polarized. For example, so I mean, if you put out something that's remotely political, it can go real sideways. So I think, especially now, it's kind of really at kind of a critical point. You put yourself out there. Well, you've got to be prepared. If you're putting something like, for example, political out there, if you take a side and people don't like it, you're going to get called a bigot, or you're going to get called a snowflake, or something like that. And that's going to hit a lot of people really, really badly. I suppose if you really want it, you've got to be prepared for the fact that you're going to possibly go through some. Even if you're perfectly mentally healthy before, if you're going into this lifestyle, there's a good chance that you're going to get hit pretty badly with some issues.
I mean, we've got the cover up coming up very shortly, which is one of my favorite features on the show. But just before, let's start to break down some of these issues that Help Musicians UK have identified. Talk about money issues due to poor pay, expensive equipment, unpaid expenses.
No pay.
Let's talk about that first of all, because you've actually written a fantastic article on making-noise.com that is from just a guitarist's point of view of how to get gig ready, and a lot of that does come down to equipment and kind of funding and things like that. So how big an effect do you think finances have on mental health in the music industry?
I mean, outside of the music industry, how much do the finances have an effect on your normal day life?
Absolutely.
So if you're trying to make it in the music industry, where the odds are against you, let's face it, the odds are against you. I mean, you might come out with a masterpiece and no one will ever hear it. You might be absolutely crap, but somehow make it. Whereas there's that guy that's next to you that's busting balls just to make it anywhere, and he can't ever get anywhere because you've gone viral. You know. That's got to be difficult. But I mean, finances are huge. I mean, just to get the equipment ready, you've got to put so much in just to get very little out at the end of the day. I mean, just from a guitar alone, you're talking the guitar itself, the amplifier, the accessories that come with it, the cables, the everything like that. That's going to cost a lot of money. Then
you've got the expenses of actually getting to the event, fuel,
a car.
It's that old
one that preferably
chestnut,
doesn't scrape an exhaust behind you. Ben.
Oh my goodness,
Right.
been there, done that.
Right.
But packing £5,000 worth of equipment into your £500 car, traveling 150 miles to play to a gig that pays 50 quid.
If that. When did we get paid 50 quid?
I mean, I can't even tell you.
Did you keep the money?
2-3 times. No, it went on the bar.
It went on the bar. Oh,
Okay,
No,
give me a break.
I don't remember. Probably for good reason.
But
yeah.
it's. I mean, I was lucky that I was a vocalist in that I had very little equipment. I had very little talent, very little role in the band, other than just turning up and entertaining. It was everybody else that had the hard job. So the finances never affected me because, I guess what I'm saying is that I can't really weigh in on it.
Well, other singers might invest into the band.
Oh, okay.
So there's that.
Wow.
So yeah, but I mean, it's going to be an expensive venture for anyone, and coupled with that, like I said, the odds are against you. People are at best of times unwilling to pay, or can be unwilling to pay, and that's not necessarily out of their fault. It's because people weren't doing amazing themselves in a lot of these venues and couldn't afford to pay a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And people weren't showing up. Maybe this will change now as we're coming out of this, C word, and we're back into coronavirus. Let's just put it out there, just in case anyone's just joining now. We're not talking about that one.
The C word?
The C word?
Mum!
So yeah, maybe there'll be, and I have said this before, I think there's going to be like a massive resurgence anyway, and people are going to be going to see gigs a lot.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be the next party day.
I really, really hope you're right. We're going to be continuing the discussion on music and mental health. We've got just under an hour left here on Making Noise. On Pure West Radio, do get in touch with us tonight. Facebook.com/Pure West Radio. Get in touch. Give us your comments, feedback. We'll give you a shout out, etc., etc. We're coming up to one of my favourite features on the show this evening. It's the cover up. We're going to hear 2 tracks now back to back that are a cover of a very well known song that you may already recognized. I've got 2 tracks coming up for you. Vintage Postmodern Jukebox featuring Haley Reinhardt with Creep. And then we're going to hear Italian Phil Peretti with I Was Made for Loving You, originally by Kiss. Really looking forward to this. My favorite feature on the show. I say it every week. Here it is. Here's the cover up.
We are Pure West Radio.
When you were here before, you couldn't look you in the eye. You're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. You float like a feather in a beautiful world. I wish I was special. You're so very special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I don't care if it hurts. I wanna have control. I want the perfect body. Want a perfect soul. And I want you to notice when I'm not around. You're so very special. Yeah, I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. Oh, she knows. Well, she's running out again. I said she's running out. She runs, what I said, I said you whatever makes you happy, whatever you want. You're so very special. Yeah, I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. Ooh, I said it. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong
Facebook.
Follow me.
Search for Pure West Radio.
Phil Peretti there with I Was Made for Loving You. Before that, we had another amazing cover for you. On the cover up with Vintage Postmodern Jukebox with Creep. Now, Tom, you've got something to say about that. Normally, this is a really beautiful moment for me and Matt, because normally you're sitting here quite nice and happily in the background.
Welcome to the show.
Tom, you're our producer.
Hello, yes,
and
I am.
You've got a story to tell of Vintage Postmodern Jukebox, which was the first track we saw there with Creep, which was originally by Motorhead.
Creep.
Yeah.
No, what was his name?
No. Radiohead.
Sorry, the
absolute anthem.
The cover was vintage postmodern jukebox featuring Haley Reinhart. Now you've seen them, right?
I've seen them, so I don't know much about Kiss other than playing Guitar Hero, but Postmodern Jukebox I am aware of, and I have had the privilege of seeing them in Bristol.
Wow,
that's so cool.
And for those that might not know, Postmodern Jukebox, a band made up by Scott Bradley, and it's a collective of musicians. So when you see them on tour, you never really know what combination you're going to get.
That's awesome.
And in Bristol, they had Casey Abrams, who made All About the Bass, their vintage version of that popular. And probably just before halfway through the show, out walks Haley Reinhart, which was not expected. They kept it a secret for the whole time.
That was the singer she's amazing.
Yeah, she's so good. And she comes out, she's so elegant and sleek, but she's got that voice that is so raspy, but she's not even trying. And she blew away the hall in Bristol. It was fantastic.
I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. I listened to them quite a few times now, and it's I can't get them out.
I mean, it was you, Mark, that actually sent me that cover, and like, I think if I'm being honest, I think you sent me 3 or 4 different covers ready for the cover up, and obviously we have a few that are sent in via Pure West Radio and straight through via making-noise.com as well. And as the second I listened to that song, there was nothing else I was going to play on the cover up. Unbelievable. Now on to Phil Peretti. Phil is Italian, massive Kiss fan, much like myself, and he absolutely embodies Kiss. Now, obviously, we're only listening there to the audio. Now, I've seen the video to that. Now he does that in full-on Paul Stanley Star Child makeup with the black and white, and honest to God, if he's not playing for Kiss within the next 10 years, then do you remember that advert with the Halifax guy?
Yeah.
Do you remember, if I'm telling you a lie, then my name ain't Brown. That's me. If that's a lie, then my name's not Rob.
What it is. What a reference! Really bringing back things.
It's gotta be
that Halifax advert.
I saw him on like a dating show recently on like Channel 4. What? Honestly, the guy. You remember like. Oh my goodness, what was it called? There was one woman, right? I'm gonna try and justify it now. There's one woman, and she invited like 6 men into her house and decided which men she was going to end up with, and one of them was this guy.
Quality TV.
From the Halifax outfit?
For the Halifax, and he literally walked into the kitchen. He was like, "Listen, you might recognise me from like he wasn't holding back. He was using and abusing." Needless to say, the woman didn't choose. Didn't choose. I think it was his name Harold Brown or something like that.
The advert, maybe. I don't know if that was.
No, that's his legitimate name, and like on the advert, but like he actually worked for Halifax as like a manager, and they were like, "Hey, we need somebody for the advert. Do you know anyone?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll come on and do a little rap."
And then he moved on to bigger and better things, a dating show.
Dating shows on Channel 4, and that was Ian's totally useless information. We've got a jingle for that somewhere. We're going to hear some more music for you now. We've got 2 tracks for you coming up. Cancel Out the Noise by Mitchell Evan, and then Deaf Divine with No More Tears. Don't forget, if you do want your music played on Making Noise, do drop us an email, studio@purewestradio.com or making-noise.com. Drop us an email. We'll get your music on the show.
I can't help the way I feel. It's a cop-out. I've always got a choice. I can't cancel out the noise in my head. I don't want to be sad. Help me focus on the joy. I'm trying to wrap my head around your heart. You are California. I don't could. If I could cancel out the noise, maybe I'd feel like I am in control. You're the only one I know that can tame the crazy thoughts in my head. I don't wanna feel the way. I don't wanna feel the way. I don't wanna feel the way I do. Not about you, no. I don't wanna feel the way. Come on, take it all away. That's where you come in. I'm lucky to have you. Oh, oh, I don't wanna feel the way I do.
Follow Pure West Radio on Twitter at Pure West Radio.
I never really saw you coming until you turned me around. I used to think I was nothing, but look at this love we found. So give me your hand like you took mine. No, I don't ever wanna see you cry. Oh, way up, no more tears. Oh, way up, no more tears. Take that chance, we'll be fine. No, I don't ever wanna see you cry. Oh, way up, no more tears. Oh, way up, no more tears.
Real talk. I get it though. I know you're tired of crying. Got some confidence back, and you've been dying to try it. Yeah. And I've been eyeing a giant. The elephant in the room, we can't lie or deny it. We ain't trying to hide it. Got us flying, we higher. In our chest, we can feel it, it's ignited inside us. Now I'm lighting a lighter, putting flame to your flower. What's a ring to a crown? Girl, I came to empower, yeah. I can show you a brighter day. Take you by the hand, we can dance the night away. Feeling feelings through your body like a tidal wave. Tell me what your boundaries are, and I'll behave. Relax, I'm the brother you can lean on. If you bring me round your friends, I'll make your team strong. Time flies when I'm with you, never seems long. We could live a fairy tale, and this could be our theme song.
Your hand like you took mine. No, I don't ever wanna see you cry. Oh, way up, no more tears. Oh, way up, no more tears.
Def Divine there with No More Tears. Absolutely loving it. Welcome back to Making Noise on Pure West Radio with me, Rob Parker. I'm joined in the studio by the ever-present Mark Price and producer Tom, who's taken up a surprising role today as co-host, replacing Mike.
Sorry, Mike. Technical issues have done me a favour.
Mike who? Listen, we've been talking today. We're kind of coming towards the end, or we're coming towards the end of Mental Health Awareness Week, and we've been talking about the correlation between music and mental health, because musicians are 3 times more likely, apparently, according to Musicians UK, to suffer from a mental health condition. Now, we've been asking, can music cause mental health? And one of the things that we've been discussing is money. And we were talking earlier, Mark, you're a musician. I was going to say like myself, but I'm not. I'm a vocalist. So I've got a microphone and that's it in terms of equipment.
Cords, mate. Your vocal cords are your music.
Yes,
no.
but when we're talking about music and money and equipment, etc., I'm maybe not one of the the best people to discuss that. Now, I do have a caveat to one of the kind of issues that were put to us by Help Musicians UK. One of the issues that they approached was about music. And I'm pretty sure, if I can find it, they talked about money worries due to poor pay, expensive equipment, unpaid travel expenses, as well as juggling several jobs to pay for their music career. Now, I'm going to put something forward. It might be a little bit sensitive, but I feel like it's our place to discuss it. If we're going to talk about money issues and mental health, how do we then approach the issues of maybe well-known musicians who have suffered from a mental health condition and in some cases even, unfortunately, taken their own life? Chester Bennington, to name one, Kurt Cobain from Nirvana, to name another. Now, money issues was one that was absolutely, I'm going to make the assumption, not an issue. So is that a fair argument?
Well,
to caveat that, to say if
I think money issues are one element of what can potentially make someone suffer negative mental health, but I think in terms of people that even that raise to the top, that's one amongst many issues that can hit you. I mean, for one thing, with a lot of these guys, they had their battles with sort of like dependence on drugs and alcohol, and those stem from issues maybe that could have come from a childhood or being in the business of the music industry. That's something that you adapt along the way. A lot of these musicians, they're doing 6-7 shows a week, maybe more. Maybe you could jump in the bus going straight to another one. They've got to keep themselves awake. They're going to be taking things. They're going to be doing things, and then they're going to be partying afterwards.
Which is, not to interrupt you, which is another aspect of this study.
Yeah. But there are so many things that I think, the same as anyone. I mean, there are so many things that can hit you and suddenly give you I guess a breakdown in terms of your mental health. And I think when you're on the road as well, especially if you're on the road constantly as well, and there's all this pressure then to live up to your, like, for example, previous album, whatever.
Yeah.
There are so many. In the case of Chester Bennington, that was one of the first people I think I cried at. Like, I was usually very good when it came to like celebrities passing away and stuff. It was, okay, well, that's very tragic, and that was the one for me. That's the thing that made me cry, and it was so, I think, tragic in so many ways, because I think if you look back, you can kind of see it, like little messages throughout this music, and then in interviews, and you start looking too much into it and stuff like that, and all these questions are raised, and you see Linkin Park are forever changed, his kids are left, but how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? How do you deal with someone, for example, in Chester Bennington's case, the guy that had it all?
Okay. Do we, as fans, as listeners, do we have a duty, an obligation to reach out when we are hearing things, listening to things? Do we have a duty to listen out and reach out and maybe express our support?
Sure. Absolutely.
When we live in,
you should always express your support for the musicians you love without becoming over invasive and trying to get into their house or whatever, which is in itself like a separate issue. Massive thing apparently with YouTubers, they have a huge problem with people basically just showing up at their house. I guess because they have so much more of what seems like a personal experience, with their and that kind of extends to musicians anyway, because a lot of them use Instagram, and they're using so much more of a personal approach. That actually, they're going to get so much of that support, but they're also going to see a lot of that hate so much faster than they would have even 10 years ago, let's face it.
You mentioned something there, Mark, a while ago in the conversation, I'll say. I say you mentioned something. You hinted at maybe substance misuse. Drugs and alcohol were also mentioned in... as links to the causes of mental health for musicians. While 45% of those who were surveyed had experienced problems with alcohol, only around 7% say that it was a frequent problem. Just 25% of reports said that drugs or substance misuse abuse, with less than 2% saying that it was a frequent problem. So maybe it's not something that maybe is as much of an issue as one would assume. I think if we were maybe having a conversation with somebody that was not as involved, they might make the assumption, well, you're in the music industry, drugs and alcohol are a massive impact. I'll be honest, a third of my life has been spent in the music industry, on tour, at gigs, things like that. I wouldn't say that I have a massive what would the word be, exposure to alcohol. I don't know about you.
No, I mean, we well, I suppose from a personal thing, we
without getting too into it.
Yeah, I mean, we had a good time. Yeah, we without getting too into it, we definitely had a good time when we were doing our little thing. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's one of so many different factors. I think it can be a problem, but I think there are a lot of people out there that can control themselves on it, and no, it probably isn't. As I think sometimes it's used as kind of maybe a way to stop people from, oh, you might get into drugs, and oh, you never know. But no, I mean, for a lot of these people, they are very much professionals going in to do a job. They're not going to, you wouldn't necessarily go into the office and get completely rat-assed before doing it. Well, you might do. I don't know. Maybe people do. Do you do that? I don't know.
No comment.
But a lot of musicians are probably the same. I think that it can be an effect on, it can be a factor in their lives.
Yeah.
Especially if you are, for example, getting bigger and things are getting offered to you, and you're out on the road, and maybe you need to take that extra little thing to carry on. I think it is very much overblown to an extent on how rife it potentially is, but it's one of those factors. Again, I think like a lot of pressure comes from trying to live up to expectations. Let's say that you made it viral, God forbid, talking like sort of contemporary issues these days. Let's say you made it viral. How do you live up to that then? Or how do you live up to the next thing? How do you keep going? There are people out there, for example, the guy that did the whaling song. Was it?
There once was a ship.
Nathan Evans.
That's it.
Man.
He's gone massively viral now. Can he keep it going? What does that do to you if you can't? If you've made it and you're almost there and you almost grabbed it, and then you've got to keep that going again. I mean, the pressure.
Yeah, I mean, the dude has now just signed a kind of multi-million-pound record deal. He's now got to live up to what he has produced.
Yeah.
And the kind of maybe the worrying thing in that circumstance is that in that sea shanty, just as an example, he hasn't produced it. That was something that was made in the, I believe, like 1880s or something like that. He's just covered it. It's gone viral.
He made it.
How then do you live up to that though? How then do you write something to go up to that?
I mean, if you're not, I'm guessing he's not going to be doing like sort of sea shanty based music for the rest of his life.
It is worrying. Sexual abuse, bullying, and discrimination are other things that were mentioned in the study, which I don't. Correct me, feel free to shoot me down, both of you. But I don't feel that that's something that we should go into too much, because I do believe that is something that is experienced in everyday line of work. Not to kind of poo-poo it, it's awful. If you
I think that's a thing in itself. That is a massive other conversation that you could probably have, and I think it does very much interlink with music.
Yeah, I think any profession, we're witnessing it at the minute in professional sport, football. As an example, they're taking the knee, and actually we are seeing a massive increase in reported cases of homophobia, racism, discrimination, and is that, and I hate to say it, is that an occupational hazard? Do you have to go into the music industry, as an example, or any other industry where you are putting yourself out there, and almost expect a small form of sexual abuse, bullying, discrimination, racism, homophobia, whatever it may be?
I mean, the whole thing of whether people should expect to have it and should face it, that's a whole other discussion in itself as well. Yeah, this is going to happen if you're going to put yourself onto a public forum. If you're going to put yourself out there, if you're going to be a public figure, then yeah, you are more than likely going to get some form of abuse, be it sort of sexual or racism or whatever. The question is, you know, is that justified? Is that just an occupational hazard? Do you have to live with that, or should, I don't know the answer. I think that in and of itself is.
I mean, there isn't an answer. I'm asking. I think you guys in the studio. If anybody is at home listening and wants to weigh in, please
where do we go
get in touch. Facebook.com/.
I suppose that goes down the whole route of like the hate crime and the hate speech and stuff like that. And where's the line drawn and where's free speech drawn? And
it's about time we listen to some more music now. We're going to hear Post Profit featuring Jonathan Jordan now with Better Off. We'll be back to finish off the discussion before we sign off with music from Images of Eden and Kissing Candace. Do get in touch with us, facebook.com/Pure West Radio, making-noise.com. Weigh in on the discussion this evening and forevermore. We want to hear your thoughts. We're going to hear Better Off now by Post Profit featuring Jonathan Jordan.
All is but quiet in this room. Be careful what you say now. Vague mirror staring back at you. It's not what you thought. Question everything that's said. I don't know if I'll ever hear the truth again. But I'm breaking on all ends, stuck in an optical illusion. Is there nowhere to turn? Our heads caught in the soil sea. What if we could learn to love? Would we be better off? I see the fires on the moon, but you can't stop the flame. And I lit the match just for you. It's not what you want. Question everything that's done. I don't know if I'll ever see the hope again. So count your blessings and count your time, 'cause it's an optical illusion. Is there nowhere left to turn? Hate is caught in the soil and sea. What if we could learn to love? Turn around, be better off. Does it even make a difference? A simple conversation is rendered useless until we step back and listen. We won't understand till all is quiet. Feel
We hate because we're taught to hate. We hate because we're ignorant. We're the product of ignorant people who have been taught in ignorant way, which is that there are 4 or 5 different races. There are not 4 or 5 different races. There's only one race on the face of the earth. And we're all members of that race, the human race.
Is there nowhere left to turn?
Better Off there, Post Profit featuring Jonathan Jordan. Absolutely fantastic here on Pure West Radio. Unsigned, unbelievable, and undiscovered. Let's discuss the concept of musicians or people who are maybe, let's say, more creative, being drawn to music as an expression, right? Because I do believe that. Do I believe that there is a correlation between music and mental health? Yes.
Yeah.
I don't believe for a second that music is a cause. I actually feel like it's the opposite. Personally, I feel that it is the relief. It's tortured souls, as we've just discussed off air. It's people who are longing for a form of expression from the torture that they maybe perceive through whatever of the options that we've maybe discussed tonight.
Yeah. What's interesting, when you Google music and mental health, it comes up with all the positive benefits of music and mental health. But of course, part of that positivity is that you're relating to someone that's gone through your own experience.
Yeah,
sure.
But it wasn't the music that led that person to that experience. It was their experience that led to the music, which is what resonates with the fan base. And then Rob just mentioned there about the tortured souls. It's kind of, and you mentioned it earlier, they then need to revisit that regularly.
Every single time.
Yeah, every single time. And then you find that identity crisis then as well. What am I if I'm just this constant reminder of the expression that I just had to get out of my body?
Yeah. And how do you, like, then when you start to evolve things? Because we were saying about, I think so Chester Bennington being like quite a recent example is probably quite a good example to bring up.
Again, you know, all of us here, we love Chester Bennington. We all loved Linkin Park and everything. It's very, very, very upsetting to see him go. And we're talking a little bit about like sort of identity as you start to move up and you start to get away from those songs that maybe you did 15, 20 years ago, and you're starting to change your identity. And then I've always kind of had a feeling that maybe a little bit of the factor that went into Chester Bennington's unfortunate passing was the fact that, you know, Linkin Park had changed so much over the years. And I personally loved it. I thought, you know, they made big changes to their music. They're evolving. Nothing should stay the same forever. Nothing does stay the same forever. And it's the same with Linkin Park. But I think a lot of people had an issue with that. And I think they had an issue with it, maybe with...
Well, there were two such convergent styles, with Mike Shinoda being hip hop, and you had is it Joseph Hahn on the decks and stuff, like
decks,
and then you had Chester, who was so newcore through the middle of that.
Yeah.
That there was always going to be a clash, and they once it leaked that they were actually formed as a band, there was uproar at that in the first. Oh, what they weren't a garage band; they were actually brought together by an organisation. People hated them on that, and then they started doing the rehash series of the first albums. And it was like, well, what's this?
Yeah.
Like we liked Crawling and we liked Paper Cut.
Yeah.
And then in the end was their breakthrough onto like mainstream media, but that wasn't anything like Crawling or. It was a softer touch.
Yeah.
But it suited Chester down to the ground.
What about what about the issue of music being a drug in itself? Okay, so there is an issue that I see, and this is maybe one of the issues that maybe I can relate to. Okay, so you know, you're turning up to a gig, you play to whether it's 10 people, 100. 1,000, 10,000, whatever it may be. You come off stage, and that's where I see the potential issue with music and mental health. It's the come down. It's you exit the stage. During that time that you're on stage, be it 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, whatever it is, you are in an alternate reality. You are a completely different person. You're expressing yourself. All of your issues and problems are put aside, and then you come off the stage, and it's almost like you're in a complete, dare I say it, come down.
And picture this as well as an added little thing on top of that. Like as you then, you know, age and mature, and your band ages and matures, that unfortunately, as with anything, things can start to happen, and not as many people maybe start turning up. Like that drug that you've been getting for the last 15 years, you're getting less of it now.
Yeah.
You're getting less of that drug, 'cause, you know, the crowd being there, the massive stadiums and stuff like that, that's going to be huge, and then suddenly that's starting to disappear as well. And I think maybe, for example, in the case of Linkin Park, even though they still had these massive still shows, within somewhere there was this kind of like eternal fight then, where, like you say, this drug that you had, where you were part of this massive, bigger movement, is starting to kind of shy away a little bit. Maybe that's
Well, even as recently as last week, Chris Martin from Coldplay was on the radio, and he was over COVID. They haven't been able to sell out stadiums. Like they sold out big stadiums, and even he said he was a bit flippant about it. But there's an element of truth in anything that's said, and he was like, "Who am I if I don't have 70,000 fans screaming Coldplay?"
And that's somebody with everything that they want at their fingertips.
Yeah.
You know, they've got no worries about.
Quite flippant. You could take that the wrong way, I think. Who am I without 70,000 people adoring me?
But I was going to say I don't relate at all. I've never had 7 fans and mine 70,000. But I understand the concept behind the comments. If you haven't got that rush, if you haven't got that adrenaline regularly, what happens? What's next?
You can see it in like the microcosm of YouTube as well. I mean, I bring up YouTube all the time. I think it's a really good case study because I mean, there things happen so much faster, right? Yeah. You know, things happen so much faster. So you actually see it happen in real time, where someone kind of goes massive, gets millions of subscribers, and then before long they kind of lose relevance really quickly. And I think that you can see like they start to do some
risky stuff.
Yeah, really desperate stuff. Actually, Jake Paul, he went.
No, sorry.
Mic
off.
He drove into LA with a blindfold on. What can you do that's more desperate than that to try and get some attention here? You know what I'm saying? But
maybe fight like a professional boxer or.
Well, that's his brother. That's his brother that's doing that. That's Logan that's doing that.
I can't.
But yeah, there's the example. You need that. You need to constantly battle that fight of relevance. How do you keep outdoing yourself? There's only so far you can go. And on the musicians level, I guess after a while, after so many years, especially the bigger you are, I do
have an argument maybe against that statistic of musicians being 3 times more likely to suffer from a mental health condition, and I wonder whether musicians are 3 times more likely to suffer from a mental health condition because they already do, and they are drawn towards music. They are drawn towards music as an expression, and therefore that statistic is muddied by that fact. What do you think?
Yeah, I like I said at the beginning, I think if you're a creative, there's definitely a correlation between that and probably having some kind of will be struggling or have struggled at some point with mental illness, whether that's something that goes on for a long time or is just something that you've had for a little while. You reflect on. Maybe it was something you had as a kid and you reflect on, and that's how you come out with your creative.
Yeah, I suppose the difficulty then is that you've relied on that creativity, other people resonated it, you get that fame, and similar to what we mentioned earlier, and if you then want to reinvent yourself, that's not what people want.
No, exactly. You've moved on, but other people haven't really.
No.
And so you can't live up. I guess you can't constantly keep on living up to that.
Yeah, and then that risky behaviour in YouTube, as a musician's point of view, you're stuck where you are. Yeah. And if you can't sustain that, then you've lost your livelihood.
And I mean, again, this is the thing that we kind of got to capitalize on here. Again, that's another small factor, or a very big factor in a group of factors that make up mental health, in terms of in the context of musicians and everything like that. In terms of music, you know, it's one factor in what can contribute to being a pretty, I guess, really heavy, intense, and hard lifestyle. You know, where you're just trying to get up every day and make something of yourself in the music industry. You've got to accept that. Yeah, if you struggle, you're going to be reliving that mental health experience over and over and over and over again. But yeah, it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it takes a huge amount of strength and support to step out of what you're known for, I think.
Absolutely. So I think we should definitely make the effort as fans to pay homage. Not just, I mean, this goes to everyone, doesn't it? Make sure you talk to your friends, talk to your family, and send some love and support to your fans. To your favorite bands, to the people out there that mean something to you.
Absolutely, I think that's a really nice place to leave. I think there's a lot more to be said, but I don't feel like there's a lot more that we can say. We will maybe revisit this in a Making Noise Off the Record podcast, which you can find at making-noise.com. Until then, I've been Rob Parker, your host for this evening. I've been joined by Tom and Mark. We'll be back next month, and we'll be discussing more important issues in music. We'll be playing lots more unsigned and undiscovered music. You're listening to Pure West Radio. This is Making Noise. We've got 2 tracks coming for you back to back: Images of Eating and Kissing Candace. And we'll see you soon. All the best.
See you guys.
Bye now.
Take care.
hard at telling right from wrong. You got to read between the lines. Don't get discouraged. Don't be afraid. We can make it through another day. Make it worth the price we pay. The good book says it's better to give than to receive.
unlimited pleasure.